In a cozy white clapboard house on the outskirts of a small Ohio town, where marigolds bloom and memories linger on the front porch swing, Evelyn Harper, a 68-year-old widow, thought she'd found peace for her golden years. But fate had other plans. Her beloved son, Michael, passed away suddenly, leaving a void in her heart that nothing could fill. Before she could even begin to heal, a bigger shock came her way. Her 35-year-old daughter-in-law, Jessica, declared with an icy stare, "You don't belong here anymore." Jessica wanted to sell a house, the sacred keepsake of Evelyn and Michael's bond. Would Evelyn bow to this betrayal from her own family? Or would a hidden strength in this seemingly frail woman rise up, turning the tables in a way no one expected? Under the soft glow of her living room lamp, Evelyn began a journey to reclaim what was hers, a fight that would leave the whole town watching in awe. Evelyn Harper was no stranger to life's challenges. With her silver hair neatly tied back and sharp eyes that had seen decades of joy and sorrow, she'd lived a life full of purpose. A retired bank clerk, she'd helped countless families in this tight-knit town manage their finances. From home loans to college savings, the white clapboard house with its wide front porch wasn't just a place to live. It was her heart's home, where she and her only son Michael had built a treasure trove of memories. Summer evenings on the porch swing, sharing vanilla ice cream and dreaming of Michael's future as an architect, filled with plans for homes as warm as theirs. Every corner of the house, from the bookshelf brimming with Michael's novels to the scuff mark on the hardwood from his childhood antics, whispered tales of their unbreakable mother-son bond. But those memories were now under threat. 6 months ago, Michael died at 42, struck down by a sudden heart attack on an ordinary morning. Evelyn could still recall the moment the hospital called. Her hands trembling, the phone slipping to the floor, her world crumbling. The pain, even now, cut like a knife every time she passed Michael's old room, where his favorite jacket still hung quietly behind the door. She sought solace in small routines, tending to her marigolds, baking apple pies from Michael's favorite recipe, or joining prayer meetings at the local church. But before she could find even a sliver of peace, a storm brewed. Not from the skies, but from within her own family. Jessica, her daughter-in-law, had once been like a daughter to Evelyn. When Michael was alive, Jessica would join them for Sunday dinners, her laughter filling the house as she shared stories from her job at a real estate firm. Evelyn believed they were a close-knit family, bound by Michael's love. But his death changed everything. Weeks after the funeral, Jessica grew distant, her visits rare, her eyes cold. Then came that fateful afternoon when Jessica walked in, her high heels clicking on the hardwood, her face devoid of warmth. "We've made a decision," she said, her voice flat as a business memo. "This house is too big for you alone. We need to sell it to start fresh for our family." Those words hit like a punch, not just for their cruelty, but for the harsh truth. This house wasn't just Jessica's or her grandchild's. It was Evelyn and Michael's, bought with years of hard work and love. Evelyn stood frozen, feeling the floor give way beneath her. This house wasn't just a home, it was the soul of her happiest days. Selling it meant erasing Michael's legacy, destroying everything she'd poured her life into. Jessica pressed on, her tone sharp. "You could move to a small apartment nearby. I'll help you find one." The offer, cloaked in concern, couldn't hide its true intent: to push Evelyn out of her own home. She fought to stay calm, her heart pounding with a mix of anger and hurt. "This is my home and Michael's," she replied, her voice trembling but firm. Jessica shrugged, as if the matter was settled, and walked out, leaving Evelyn with a flood of unanswered questions. That night, sleep eluded her. Sitting in the living room under the dim glow of her lamp, Evelyn gazed at the family photos on the wall. Michael, at 5, grinning beside his first bike. Michael on his wedding day holding Jessica's hand. The three of them at a fall picnic, leaves scattered across the grass. Those images fueled her resolve but also sparked painful questions. How could someone she once called family change so drastically? Was Jessica truly acting for her grandchild's sake, or was something else behind that cold smile? Most importantly, what could Evelyn do to protect her home, Michael's memory, and her own dignity? Evelyn's story isn't just about a family feud. It's a testament to the strength of an older woman who faced loss and betrayal but refused to back down. Would she find answers in old paperwork? Would the support of her small-town friends be her lifeline? And when pushed to the edge, how would she make Jessica see the error of her ways? Evelyn's journey was just beginning, and what unfolded would leave this quiet community forever changed. Evelyn Harper stood still in her living room, the family photos on the wall seeming to watch her every move. Jessica's cold declaration, "You don't belong here anymore," echoed in her mind, sharp as a blade. The white clapboard house in this Ohio suburb, with its marigold-lined porch and creaky swing, wasn't just Evelyn's home for over 30 years. It was her legacy with Michael. Her son, taken by a heart attack at 42 just 6 months ago. Every corner, from the bookshelf stuffed with his novels to the faint smell of apple pie in the kitchen, held memories of their happiest days. But now, Jessica wanted to sell it. Wiping away Michael's presence and casting Evelyn out of her own sanctuary, the injustice burned in her chest. But Evelyn knew this wasn't just a fight for her home. It was for her pride and her love for her son. Jessica hadn't always been so callous. When Michael was alive, she was a vital part of their family. Evelyn recalled Sunday dinners when Jessica's stories about selling houses brought laughter to the table. Evelyn had treated her like a daughter, even gifting her a pearl necklace on her wedding day. But Michael's death shattered that bond. Jessica grew distant, her visits scarce, her warmth gone. That fateful afternoon, she strode in, her heels clicking coldly. "I've spoken to an investor," she said, her voice like a business report. "This house is worth at least $400,000, 0 cents. Selling it will give me and your grandchild a fresh start." Those words dismissed Evelyn's rights and stung like salt in an open wound. Michael had bought this house with her, their savings and dreams woven into its walls. Evelyn gripped the table's edge, struggling to stay composed. "This is my home, and Michael's," she said, her voice shaking but resolute. "I won't agree to sell." Jessica raised an eyebrow, a smirk curling her lips. "Be realistic, Evelyn. You can't manage this big house alone. I'm just thinking of the family." The word family stung. Family? Did that no longer include Evelyn, who raised Michael and welcomed Jessica with open arms? Jessica's tone sharpened. "I've contacted a lawyer. If you don't cooperate, things will get messy." The threat hung like a cold wind, making Evelyn feel small and powerless. Jessica left, leaving behind a heavy silence and a piercing question. How could someone so close turn so cruel? The days that followed were thick with tension. Jessica came by more often, not to talk but to inspect, as if appraising every inch of the house. One day, Evelyn overheard her on the porch, her voice excited over the phone. "Yes, it's in a great location. Just clear out a few things and we can list it." Clear out a few things sent a chill through Evelyn. She wasn't just talking about furniture, she meant Evelyn herself. Jessica didn't just want to sell. She wanted to erase Evelyn's existence, as if she'd never belonged. The betrayal cut deep, mingling with the grief of losing Michael. Evelyn sank into Michael's old armchair, tears falling silently. But in that pain, a spark of resolve ignited. She couldn't let Jessica take everything. Not this house, not Michael's memory. A small Ohio town began to notice the shift. At the church's weekly potluck, where Evelyn brought her homemade apple pie, Friends whispered with concern. "Evelyn, is it true? Jessica wants to sell your house?" asked Martha, her closest friend. Rumors were spreading, and not in Evelyn's favor. Jessica, with her real estate savvy, had told neighbors Evelyn was selfish, clinging to the house at the expense of her grandchild. Those words stung like arrows, tarnishing the reputation Evelyn had built over years. But they also awakened her inner strength, the resilience that carried her through raising Michael alone after her husband's death. That night, in the living room, Evelyn gazed at a photo of Michael at his college graduation, his smile bright as the sun. "I won't let you down," she whispered. She couldn't face Jessica with just emotions. Jessica had lawyers, plans, and the confidence of someone sure of victory. But Evelyn had something Jessica didn't: a lifetime of wisdom, grit, and a heart that wouldn't quit. She thought of the property deeds, conversations with Michael about ownership, and a will he'd mentioned. Could there be a clue in the dusty files in the basement? Could she prove this house wasn't just Jessica's, but hers and Michael's, tied to their unforgettable days? The clash between Evelyn and Jessica wasn't just a legal battle. It was loyalty versus betrayal, memory versus ambition. A mother fighting for her son's legacy against a daughter-in-law ready to erase the past. Jessica's every word and action fueled Evelyn's anger, but also her determination. This house wasn't just bricks and mortar. It was where Michael grew up, where Evelyn poured her sweat and tears, and she wouldn't let it fall into hands that didn't value its worth. Evelyn Harper sat in her living room, the family photos on the wall, watching her every breath, Jessica's threat. "If you don't cooperate, things will get messy," lingered, a reminder that the fight for her white clapboard house in this Ohio suburb was far from over. Jessica wanted to sell the sacred keepsake of Evelyn and Michael, her son lost at 42, for the sake of a new family. The rumors Jessica spread, calling Evelyn selfish and accusing her of denying her grandchild, had bruised the reputation she'd built over decades. But in Evelyn's heart, a fire of determination blazed. She wasn't a woman who gave up easily. Armed with her experience as a retired bank clerk and her love for Michael, Evelyn embarked on a mission to reclaim what was hers. Not just to save her home, but to preserve her dignity. That night, as moonlight filtered through the basement window, Evelyn carefully descended the creaky wooden stairs where dusty boxes of files sat untouched for years. The basement was chilly, smelling of old paper and damp wood, but she pressed on. She sifted through folders, her fingers trembling as they brushed Michael's handwriting on stray pages. Finally, in an old box, she found what she needed: the deed to the house, naming her and Michael as co-owners, and a will he'd written years ago, stating his share would go to her if he passed. The papers were a beacon in the dark, undeniable proof that this house wasn't just Jessica's. Clutching them, her heart raced, not with fear, but with hope. "Thank you, Michael," she whispered, as if he were there, smiling from afar. Papers were only the start. Evelyn knew confronting Jessica, a savvy real estate agent, wouldn't be easy. She recalled her banking days, helping clients navigate property disputes. That experience was now her weapon. She called Henry, a retired lawyer respected in town. In his book-lined office, Henry reviewed the documents, nodding slowly. "Evelyn, you've got the upper hand," he said, his voice warm but firm. "Jessica can't sell without your signature. But brace yourself, she won't back down easily." His words were both encouragement and a warning. Evelyn knew this fight wasn't just legal. It was about willpower. She had to be stronger than ever, for herself and for Michael. The next day, at the dining table, once filled with laughter from family dinners, Evelyn faced Jessica head-on. Jessica strode in, confident as ever, clutching her own stack of papers. "I've found a buyer," she said, her voice smug. "They are offering $450,000, 0 cents. You should sign here to make this smooth." The room tensed, the only sound the ticking of the wall clock. Evelyn took a deep breath, stood, and calmly placed her documents on the table. "Jessica, you need to see this first," she said, her voice steady but firm. "This is the deed and Michael's will. This house is mine, and I'm not signing anything." Jessica froze, her eyes wide, hands shaking as she flipped through the pages. For the first time, her confidence crumbled, replaced by panic. You can't do this," she stammered. But Evelyn just smiled faintly. "I'm not doing anything, Jessica. I'm protecting what's mine and Michael's." That moment was a turning point, but Jessica didn't give up easily. She doubled down, spreading harsher rumors, telling neighbors Evelyn was stealing her grandchild's future. One morning, as Evelyn brought apple pie to church, she caught wary glances from old friends. "Evelyn, are you really not thinking of the child?" "Clara," a friend asked hesitantly. The words cut deep, but Evelyn refused to waver. She decided to act, not just to clear her name, but to share the truth. At the next community meeting, she stood, her voice trembling but clear. "I lost my son Michael," she began, "and now I'm fighting to keep the home we built together. I'm not selfish. I'm just holding on to my son's memory." Her honesty struck a chord. Martha, her best friend, squeezed her hand, and applause rippled through the room. The town rallied behind her. From church friends to the paper boy she'd once given pie to, the community's support fueled Evelyn's strength. Notes of encouragement appeared at her door, and neighbors called with kind words. But the fight wasn't over. Jessica, shaken by the documents and the town's unity, still pushed back. She sent a formal letter demanding Evelyn reconsider selling, with a veiled threat of a law firm seal. The letter, stamped with a law firm seal, gave Evelyn pause, but then she recalled Michael's proud smile when they signed the deed together, and she told herself, "I can't give up." She prepared for the next battle, armed not just with papers, but with the grit of a mother determined to protect her son's legacy. Evelyn's journey was no longer just personal. It became a symbol of resilience, of older folks refusing to be sidelined. Could she make Jessica see her mistake? And when the stakes were highest, what would happen to the home filled with Michael's memory? The answers lay in Evelyn's next steps, where wisdom, courage, and love would decide it all. Evelyn Harper stood firm in her fight to protect her white clapboard house in Ohio, where memories of her son Michael, lost at 42, lived on. The tense showdown at the dining table, where she laid out the deed and Michael's will before Jessica, her 35-year-old daughter-in-law, had shattered Jessica's confidence. Those papers, backed by the support of the small-town community, from church friends to the local paper boy, gave Evelyn the upper hand. Jessica's rumors, calling Evelyn selfish, and her legal threats couldn't shake the truth. Evelyn had both the legal right and the town's heart on her side. But this fight wasn't just about winning. For Evelyn, it was about preserving Michael's memory, safeguarding her dignity, and finding peace in the home once filled with laughter. As the dust settled, a new hope emerged, paving the way for reconciliation and healing. In the days after the confrontation, the house felt quieter, though a subtle tension lingered. Jessica visited less often, and when she did, her sharp gaze had softened. Despite her strength, Evelyn felt a pang of sorrow. Jessica was, after all, Michael's wife and the mother of her grandchild, Lily. She recalled the days when they'd gather around the table, Jessica's laughter mingling with Michael's silly stories. Could this home, once a battleground, become a place of healing? Evelyn chose not to let resentment rule. Instead, she embraced patience and grace while holding firm to her resolve. One crisp fall afternoon, as golden leaves blanketed the yard and the sunset painted the porch in hues of red, Jessica knocked on the door. Evelyn, tending to her marigolds, looked up, surprised but composed. Jessica stood there, no longer the confident real estate agent, but a woman carrying a heavy burden. "Evelyn, can we talk?" she asked, her voice soft, almost a whisper. Evelyn nodded, inviting her inside. In the kitchen, where the faint scent of apple pie lingered, Evelyn poured 2 cups of tea, setting them down as a gesture of peace. The room was silent, save for the ticking clock and the rustle of leaves outside. Then Jessica spoke, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry, Evelyn. I was wrong. I thought selling the house was the way forward, but I didn't consider your feelings or what this place meant to you and Michael." Her apology, though late, was like a cool breeze, soothing Evelyn's weary heart. Evelyn listened, not rushing to respond. She looked into Jessica's eyes, now free of defiance, filled instead with regret. She remembered Michael's words. "Mom, families where we forgive, even when it's hard." To Evelyn, this house wasn't just property. It was a symbol of love and connection. She smiled gently, placing her hand on Jessica's. "I didn't want to fight you," she said, her voice warm but firm. "I just wanted to protect what Michael left behind, but I also want us to be family for Lily, for us." Those words broke down the invisible wall between them. Jessica bowed her head, tears streaming, and for the first time in months, they talked not as adversaries, but as 2 women, bound by the shared loss of Michael. This reconciliation didn't erase all the pain, but it opened a new chapter. Jessica agreed to respect Evelyn's ownership and dropped her plans to sell. She promised to bring Lily over more often, and Evelyn, with an open heart, began sharing stories of Michael with her granddaughter. From his sandcastle building days to his architect dreams, the house, once a battlefield, became a place of connection, where Michael's memory lived on through Lily's laughter. Each afternoon, Evelyn sat on the porch swing, watching Lily play in the yard, feeling Michael's presence in every gentle breeze. The town embraced this change with joy. At the next church potluck, Evelyn brought her apple pie, as always, but this time she shared the story of her reconciliation with Jessica. "I learned that winning isn't always about beating someone," she said, her voice warm. "Sometimes it's about bringing them back to family." Her friends nodded, some wiping tears, and Martha hugged her tightly. Evelyn's story spread, not just as a legal victory, but as a lesson in forgiveness and the power of grace. The white clapboard house was no longer just a keeper of Michael's memory. It was a symbol of resilience and hope. Evelyn still tended her marigolds each morning, baked pies from the old recipe, but her heart felt lighter. The sunset on her porch no longer carried sadness, but a reminder that no matter how harsh life gets, love and forgiveness can heal. She knew Michael somewhere was smiling, proud that his mom had not only saved their home, but also the heart of their family. Evelyn Harper found peace again in her white clapboard house in Ohio, where marigolds bloom and Michael's memory lives on. After a fierce battle with Jessica, her 35-year-old daughter-in-law, Evelyn not only kept the home, her sacred tie to her son, but also forged a path to reconciliation. Jessica's heartfelt apology, the warm tea shared in the kitchen, and little Lily's laughter in the yard turned the house from a battleground back into a home. The support of the tight-knit town, from church friends to kind neighbors, gave Evelyn strength. Her story isn't just about a legal win. It's proof of resilience, forgiveness, and the enduring power of family. Now, as the sun sets over her porch, Evelyn wants to share her lesson with you, our viewers, who might have faced your own battles. Evelyn's story makes us wonder, have you ever had to fight for something that mattered most in your life? Maybe a home filled with memories, a family bond that seemed broken, or just your own sense of pride? At 68, Evelyn showed us it's never too late to stand tall, find your voice, and forgive when the time comes. Sitting on her porch swing, watching leaves fall, she learned that true victory isn't about defeating someone. It's about bringing them back to family. Do you have a story like that? A moment when your heart proved stronger than any obstacle? Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Your story, big or small, could inspire someone else. This story also reminds us that community, like Evelyn's church friends, can be a lifeline in tough times. In that small town, it was the handshakes, kind words, and shared slices of apple pie that carried her through. Who's been your light in dark times? Share their story in the comments, or better yet, reach out to them. A call, a text, or a hug can work wonders, just like it did for Evelyn. If Evelyn's journey touched your heart, hit that subscribe button to join our channel and catch more inspiring stories. We're here to share tales of strength, hope, and family, reminding you that no matter your age, you've got the power to shape your story. Share this video with friends and loved ones to spread Evelyn's message. And let us know in the comments, what did you think of Evelyn forgiving Jessica? Would you have done the same? As the sunset fades over her porch, Evelyn smiles, knowing Michael's watching. Proud, she saved not just their home, but their family's heart. We hope you carry her lesson. Stay strong, forgive, and cherish where your heart belongs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.